You.
Yeah. So I did. We'll check with him. It's 6:49. Hey, there's also an election going on this year.
What?
Yeah, there is an election. 2 of them. We have a primary election and a general election.
And they're coming up real quick.
They are, and there's a lot of people running. A lot of people.
Really?
Well,
I need to check because when I saw it,
there's a lot of people running, but I don't know how many people have actually filed.
Right.
Yeah. So June 30th is the deadline, but I mean, you're starting to see. I mean, Mike and Nicholas's signs have been up ever since I want to say February, and then there's a few others that I saw. Will Castro.
J.I. Cruz has been out almost everywhere.
The bar guy.
The bar guy. What bar guy?
The one who bar.
John Ananich.
John Ananich.
He's also when the congressman held a veterans town hall.
Yeah. We've never heard anything about that. You're right. The congressman held a veterans town hall. Let me refresh my memory. It was at Government House.
Right.
And he announced that John Ananich was going to head this Veterans Advisory Council.
Right.
And we never heard anything after that.
Well, the COVID happened in March. So.
Yeah, I know. But, I mean, still, veterans are still veteraning. And that was their biggest complaint was that they ain't getting the time of day from the congressman's office. And trust me, I've interviewed all the veterans, different organizations, all saying the same thing. Okay.
Okay.
6:50. So talking about election, let's get Maria Pangelinan from the Guam Election Commission up here, who's trying to put on a primary election as we transition, hopefully, out of the COVID. Good morning, Miss Maria.
How's the day, Chris and Sabrina? How are you, both of you?
We're doing pretty good. Just trying to figure out what kind of election we're going to have, as you guys are really starting to pick up steam with a call out. You guys had a call out yesterday in a press release for what are you looking for, precinct officials?
Yes, we are. We are looking for precinct officials to work the primary election for now. So the primary election is going to be on Saturday, August 29th, and we are looking for a total of 335 precinct officials. They will be paid a stipend of $350. They will have to attend a training at the GEC and then report to work at 5:30 a.m. in the morning. And most of the polling sites are schools, so as soon as the ballots are handed to them, they cannot leave the ballots, which means they cannot smoke. So that's one of the bigger things. That's one of the bigger challenges.
You guys better bring your Nicorette.
Yes, and I hear it works because when we did the Junior special election, our precinct officials then were really efficient. As you know, we reported the results before midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how was that, Miss Maria, the Jotnia election? Was that, did you, and I know it wasn't practice because it was for real, but did you guys kind of take away what it could be like in the primary election with all the measures that you had put in place?
Yes, and we are preparing to do the thermal scanning. We are preparing the hand sanitizers and the sanitizing all the rooms before and after the election, and we are preparing training materials for the precinct officials to do the sanitizing of the voting booths.
Mm-hmm. For people who are interested to apply for the precinct official positions, are there any other requirements?
They cannot be the candidate, and they cannot be first degree related to the candidate.
What about police and court clearance and all that stuff?
That's not in the requirement, but they do have to pass our test. That's in the law, that they have to pass a written test of the election code. And they have to be able to speak and write the English language.
How hard is the test? I mean, I know it can't be that hard because you guys always find the precinct officials.
Well, what we do is at the beginning of the training, we give them the test. So it's a pre-test, and what it's supposed to do is let the trainee know that this is what we're going to look for. So during the course of the training, pay attention, and you'll get all the answers to the test.
So it's not like you guys say, okay, you right there, recite the first 5 paragraphs of the election code.
It's not like that.
Okay.
And we try to do as much hands-on as possible. And we're planning to put up parts of the training up on our website, and even the precinct official handbook up on our website, so that they can take a look at it. Anyone that's interested, please visit our website at gec.guam.gov, download the application form, and send it to us at vote@gec.guam.gov, together with a copy of your ID.
Mm-hmm. Are you guys still planning the same scenarios in terms of like the tabulation center up at UOG? You staying there all night?
Yes, the election code is made of 21 chapters, and it's very, very detailed. And that's what we use. And in the conduct of elections, there's lots of detail as to how we do it.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Maria, I know you've been through your share of elections, so voter registration-wise, what are we tracking for this year, and how has COVID impacted?
Well, we have motor voter registration going on, and I'm watching DMV and how they're very, very, very busy. They're starting to open on Saturdays, and from what I gather, there's thousands of expired driver's licenses. So motor voter registration is going to increase registered voters by a lot. So with that said, anyone that's visiting DMV, please, you have the opportunity to register to vote at the same time. There's a little box right on the DMV application. Please make sure you indicate that you want to update or register to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And so with regard to your question on voter registration, we also, besides motor voter, we also are trained some more volunteer voter registrars yesterday, and we have training this afternoon. But know that in order to get to the training, you must confirm your seat. If we still have space, you may call our office at 477-9791.
All right, can you take us through the races for the primary?
So we have the congressional delegate, we have the senators, we have the mayor and vice mayor if the village has one, we have the public auditor for the primary.
Wow.
Okay.
Who has filed for public auditor, Ms. Maria?
None yet.
All of the I'm on the website. You guys update that daily?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hey,
yeah.
you guys have done a good job in
Mm-hmm.
upgrading your website, by the way.
Oh, thank you to the staff.
Yeah, great job. Because,
Yeah.
like you said, you update it daily. I check almost every day to see if any new people have filed, and it's still like for the senatorial race, it's still the same 3
Yeah.
or 4 people. It hasn't
Right.
changed, so
What
you'll
are
probably
we?
see a surge, right?
Yeah. What are we anticipating? I know. Are you talking with anybody who hasn't filed officially, but is maybe talking with you guys like, what do I need to do? Because we're hearing a lot of names.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are too, and I'm worried about my staff because we're anticipating ratification of candidates soon. As you may know, there's not very much time between. There's not very many days between June 30th and August 29th. And for the Guam Election Commission, our biggest challenge is sending out those ballots sending out the off-island ballots 45 days before the primary. So it's going to be a tight squeeze. We're already busy. I can imagine next week. But hopefully, good elections are based on good candidates. So hopefully they start walking in as soon as this morning at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, but Miss Maria, we still have to have the election even if we don't have good candidates, right?
We will have the election with good candidates, Chris Barnett.
Okay. Check. So what do you? Because we're looking at who picked up packets. That's a pretty long list. Are any of these people who picked up packets talking with you guys like, hey, I'm going to come in? I'm basically asking you, do you know anyone who's running that hasn't yet officially filed, but that you guys are talking to?
The calls, most of the calls are being fielded by the staff. I've gotten a few calls about who will be, just questions, no commitment that they're going to run, just questions about organizational reports, questions about, whether we need two court clearances. And the answer is yes, you need both a district court clearance and a superior court clearance. And those that are potentially going to file in the next few days, please know that the district court clearance takes a few days. So.
Right, and all those things that they need, those are all stood up and running now. All the documents. Everything
they need is, except I think the district court clearance still requires an email, I believe. Based on yesterday's conversation, I think it still requires an email. So they will email to district court, and then the district court will let them know when it can be picked up. And pickup days, I think, are not every day. There are certain days that they can pick up.
Have you received any, concerns from potential candidates in having to meet the requirements for the nomination papers and the number of signatures, taking into consideration social distancing and things like that?
Yeah.
It's the number of signatures that we've gotten many calls about.
Right.
And so, we let them know that the Guam Election Commission must follow the law, and the law does.
Who was asking for a waiver? I heard some interesting names. Like I heard was Will Castro asking for a waiver, the delegate candidate?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, for Washington delegate,
it's
just to break this
signatures.
down.
Yeah. So go ahead. The mayor's 100, and some villages have gotten 25. Asan Maina 60, PD 45, Umatic 40, Molesto 65. Vice mayor's 100 signatures. Senator 250 signatures. Washington delegate 500, and then Guam Election Board says C17 GCA.
This has to be handwritten, right? It can't be like an electronic signature.
It cannot be electronic signatures. And the nominating petitions for those potential candidates, again, that haven't called, though the nominating petitions at the top must be completely filled out with your legal name.
Okay. We do have a question from one of our viewers on Facebook. What is the deadline to register at DMV to register and vote?
It would be, I don't have that date, but it would be, Chris and Sabrina help me, 21 days before the election would be the day, so it'd be like July 28th maybe, at DMV.
Okay. What about at GEC?
Oh, at GEC, it would be 10 days before the election,
right.
And that would be August 19th.
And what do you need to bring with you when you register?
Validly issued ID, and people say, well, validly is not grammatically correct, but that's what's in the law, and it is an important word, because your photo ID must be government issued or Guam or college or university ID, Guam high school ID, I'm sorry. And when we say validly, which means it could be expired, just make sure it was issued by a government agency or the high school or college here on Guam.
Ms. Maria, have you guys gotten your whole board situation sorted out? Because I know Uncle the kid passed. Have we filled that seat with? And can you just update on that, because I might have missed that?
Okay, so we have 7 board members, and on the Democrat side, we have Vice Chairperson Alice Tyron, Colonel Joe Moffness, and Commissioner Carissa Pangelinan. On the Republican side, we have Chairman Mike Parrish, Commissioner Jerry Crisostomo, and Commissioner Tony Gumatautau. And our longest standing member, our independent member, Attorney Pat Seville.
Right. So I wanted to ask what the status, if at all, because we've been seeing these reports come out about Congressman Nicholas with the campaign finance. There was an FEC of issue, and I know that multiple sources have told us that these issues were brought to the GEC board, but I don't know how if they were derailed because of the COVID, or I don't know. The law is really tricky, and you guys can't say. What can you say anything at all about if there is an ongoing thing that they're looking at? Anything with a delegate, or has it been concluded? And if you can't, Ms. Maria, can you just tell the listeners why?
Again, I cannot make. The Guam Election Commission cannot make any comments. In Chapter 7 of the title of the Election Code, Chapter 17, it is very specific that everything is confidential. Even excuse me, even whether a person has submitted a complaint, even that has to be held confidential. So again, the Guam Election Commission must abide by the laws, and at this time, we cannot make comment.
Right, but the people who make the complaint are free to tell anybody they want, and so that's what I'm saying is that I know that the complaint was made. And if you saying that you can't say anything, or the law prevents you from saying anything while the process is ongoing, are we just to kind of deduce that that process is still ongoing?
Again, Chris Barnett, thoughts or comments?
Does the law state that there's a time frame or timeline in which if a complaint is filed that it has to be resolved and addressed?
No. No, the law is not absent of time constraints.
Can you explain the process then on what happens if a complaint is filed? What does the law say?
Let's say, for example, I know of an elected official who received theoretically maybe a $10,000 donation, and that's way over the limit, and then I report it to the Guam Election Commission. What's going to happen?
So the law says a written complaint will be accepted at the Guam Election Commission. The commission will notify who the complaint is. It will notify the individual that confidentially that a complaint has been made. The commission will meet, and this is not a public meeting, and they will discuss the complaint. And then the commission will discuss the complaint. They have investigative and subpoena powers, and all this is done confidentially. And the reason being is that, or the intent of the law is that if the person is found, there's no willful negligence, then I guess the law protects that person from all the name tarnishing right before the election or while he's in office.
Mm-hmm. I think we had a conversation or may have ran a story last year. Is the GEC, I guess, the local branch of the FEC or the representative for the FEC?
Not at all. The federal election, a congressional delegate for Guam must file reports to the FEC from the get-go, from the beginning. They must file a statement of organization, and then they will continue to file campaign finance reports with them. The congressional delegate candidate must submit copies of what they submit to FEC to the Guam Election Commission, and in that regard, only then for Federal Election Commission may contact the Guam Election Commission to see what is filed.
Miss Maria,
But
you know, just for the listeners, because to me what it looks like is we have clearly authorities in the American states that are looking at these things, and I don't know, I mean, call me crazy, but I would just assume that our local counterparts, just by default, would also look at the same things. You know what I mean? So that's why we're really trying to get an answer out of you, because it just looks like another typical, we got to wait for the feds to do everything, and locally we don't care.
I mean, we have actual video of the person filing the complaint.
Yeah. Yeah. And Miss Maria, just to be clear, what does the law say? Can the candidate who is the subject of the investigation at any time tell the GEC that, yeah, I know the law says this is supposed to be confidential, but I have nothing to hide. I want to put it all out there in the name of transparency, in the name of public scrutiny. So at any time, could Delegate San Nicolas tell you guys that I don't want it to be confidential?
I'm not so sure. There is some mention of the law of what the person can do, but I don't have it right in front of me. I can get back to you. I
think that might be accurate, Mr. Maria, because I remember I've been reporting on this campaign finance stuff, and I seem to remember interviewing you about it and making the point that at any time any candidate could say, hey, open it up, give it to the media.
I'll let you know. I'll send you the citation.
So what would you say though to the kind of like what I had said about it's one of these examples where we have the feds looking at something and locally people wondering, scratching their heads,
actually,
are we doing something? So how do you restore that faith to those people who think that they're just going to let everyone slide because it's local?
Actually, Chris, the commission on its own, without a complaint, can investigate. That's what I can say.
But we also have these financial disclosure reports when public officials fail to file. A complaint can be filed right to the AG's office, or it goes to like an ethics group. There's
no ethics commission, by the way.
No. What you're talking about, Sabrina, are the personal financial disclosures.
Right.
So the personal financial disclosures, if they don't file on time, so first it's due on April 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's due on April 22nd, the public official or whoever needs to file, right? Mostly public officials, I'm sorry. They can request for an extension. So according to the law, the Guam Election Commission shall grant extensions. So then the extension is for 6 months. And so come October 19th, if they don't file, their names go to the Attorney General.
Mm-hmm. So there's nothing in the law that says that there's an ethics committee or a... Sabrina,
I believe that at one point the law said that these reports go to the Ethics Commission.
Right.
But because
the non-existent Ethics Commission.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's non-existent, guys. It's not a priority. It's not a priority for you guys to be able to go and file an ethics complaint against anybody in the government of Guam, because people talk about defunding police. They've defunded the Ethics Commission. There's no money. They don't have an office. There's no form. There's no way for any member of the public to go and file a complaint, an ethics complaint against anybody in the government of Guam. And guess what? I talked to the director, Shannon Murphy, and she said, hey, even when we get our budget next year in fiscal year, the next fiscal year, it's still going to take them several months to figure out how to accept complaints. So government officials, you got a free ride for at least the next year. You've had a free ride. This would be the time to do all your hanky-panky, because there's little to no enforcement on anything. You can't file a complaint. So anyway, sorry, Ms. Maria.
I wanted to get back though what you mentioned about the FEC and how reports are filed with the GEC. Did you say whatever's filed with the FEC? also has to be filed with the GEC.
Correct. So
Okay.
they file it with the FEC, and the congressional delegate must submit a copy to the GEC. That's how it works.
And what do you do with those papers?
Oh, it's open for it's open for public review, but it's also up on the website. So most people find for the congressional delegate, most people find it easier to download it, or maybe because the FEC website is quite it's not very user friendly.
It's not.
Yeah. So, but the public is welcome to review it at our office.
Right.
Everything filed at the FEC that is submitted to the GEC.
Ms. Maria, what would you say to I'm just going back because I had asked you the question earlier. What would you say to those people out there to restore their trust, their faith, their confidence in the Guam Election Commission to hold candidates accountable?
As you were making those remarks about the Ethics Commission, people have come to us to complain sometimes about us, right? They do complain about us. And we have a real simple disclosure statement right at our at the reception area of our office. They can come in and make a complaint. They can even email the complaint nowadays, and let us know. And that's what I can say. And we, by the way, we do have a meeting tonight at 5:30 p.m. It's a reconvened meeting of the Guam Election Commission, where we will begin to discuss. They will begin to discuss the primary election. We were focused on the special election, and so now we're going to do the primary election, and it's a public meeting. Unfortunately, we are limited to, we are still doing social distance. We have room for people to come, but we're limited as to how many can come.
Plan on live streaming the meeting?
No, we're not. It's a face-to-face meeting.
Is there any audio recording that maybe if the public can't show, they can review the?
No, our practice is we do the minutes and we post our minutes up on the website as required by law.
We do have a question. Can someone register to vote at their respective mayor's office?
Absolutely. All 19 village mayors are staffed with registrars, and we are getting registration forms from them. So while they're open, and I'm thinking that most of the mayor's offices have 2 registrars. So we hope that somebody will be in at all times to be able to take the registration. And one thing, during COVID, one thing that people are talking about is vote by mail. And so if you've been to the polling site and you notice that your mailing address is an old mailing address, please know that you can simply re-register to vote to change your address. And at Motor Voter, if you're there to pick up a new license or a Guam ID, if you check mark update my registration, we will update it with the mailing address and your village of residence.
Okay. Any final comments about what people need to know for the upcoming primary?
We do, we're trying to make sure that that you come in and it's a fast and easy process to vote. We are trying our best to do that. The primary is Saturday, August 29th. Be prepared for COVID measures, thermal scanning, hand sanitizing required, mask required, but we will not turn anybody away. Please make sure, try to bring your blue or black pen, and make sure you bring your validly issued photo ID.
Only the validly one, right?
Again.
Miss Maria, what's your message out there to people who are, because I know people are thinking about running. I'm hearing a lot of things. What would your message be to those, but only the good candidates? I don't want you to give a message to the bad ones.
The deadline is June 30th at 5 o'clock. Don't wait until the last minute. If the Guam Election Commission does a cursory review at the counter when we're receiving your packet, we need to make sure as much as possible that your packet is complete. If it is not complete, we will not accept your packet. So it's best if you turn it in early, because if we made a mistake and something is missing, or if the number of signatures does not meet the requirement, you can still go out and get more signatures up until June 30th at 5 o'clock p.m. Close of business.
Miss Maria, do people, if it's 100 signatures, do they really just turn in 100, or they just gun it and give you?
No. Everybody turns in more than the requisite, because
just in case.
There's
right.
Just in case, yeah. But please don't turn in more than. We will let you know.
Don't be turning in 5,000 signatures, because these guys have to verify all of that by hand, and they're short-staffed. Okay, so I know if you're thinking, I'm going to turn in 10,000 signatures and really make a statement. Don't make a statement in the election. Don't make the GEC spend 3 days verifying every damn signature, reading your chicken scratch. Okay.
And Chris, one more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
You're Chris, if you're going to turn in your packet, make sure that your clearances, your Superior District Court and GPD clearance, make sure they're less than 30 days old the day you turn in your packet.
Can you take me off the list, Miss Maria?
Nope.
I'm on the list, guys, because
Huh?
all I did was pick up a packet. It was just so innocent. So innocent. And now everywhere I go, people say, hey, you running? Hey, you running? I'm not running. I just picked up a packet.
That's what is called transparency.
You're right, Miss Maria. Thank you. Okay. We're good. Anything else you want to add, Miss Maria?
Please, Chris, if you want to, you can apply for a precinct official if you don't want to run.
Right, and because I can wake up early in the morning. Is that the hardest
You're
thing?
going to be working. What are you talking about?
I'm working. Oh, I'm working,
He's
Miss
already
Maria.
got a job.
Sorry, Miss Maria. I'm working.
All right.
Nice try, though.
Make an offer. Make an offer. Hit me in the DMs.
It's a $300 stipend.
Just one shot. That's it.
$350.
$350.
Sorry,
And
$350.
if you
Do I hear $375?
And if you do both, that's $700 for good Christmas presents.
Okay. Maybe we can do like a KUAM embedded. All right, Miss Maria. Thank you. It's good talking to you always.
Hago Master, this Master.
Hope I didn't
care.
get you in trouble with all those questions. Just blame me, bored. It's me. It's not her. She didn't know. Bye, Miss Maria. Wash your hands.
Bye.
Esta, this Master.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a really short break. And we got Dedido Mayor Melissa Tavares, unless you just want to go to her. Let's go to her
Yeah,
now.
let's go.
Okay.